what's up? This is Jordan Gray from Half Lit and DopeLivenTV.
Hey, this your boy Don Ritchie representing the Midwest 219 Stand Up.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Lamar Tate.
This is your girl, Monifa.
Hey, what up, what up, what up? It's your man Dave Hollister from Blackstreet.
You know what this is right here. This Trigger Trench in the building.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is your boy Jason Weaver. And whenever I'm back home in the Chi, I'm checking out Dope Living TV.
Hey, it's your girl, Adina Howard, and you're watching Dope Living TV, live with Greg Gray and the crew.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Greg Gray, Dope Living TV Live. That's corny. Anyway, the views that are expressed in this Dope Living TV Live are not necessarily the views of Dope Living TV or its affiliates. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody had a great day wherever you are. Today we're talking about basically parenting 101. Now, I was looking at Facebook and I saw this young man in his 30s, and he gave a whole synopsis in 10 minutes about parenting. I mean, it was awesome. So we're going to discuss the differences in raising a child from the old school to the present. Is sparing the rod truly spoiling the child? Does timeout work? Do you have to scare your child in order for them to behave, or should you try something called gentle parenting? We are going to have a great discussion about this, and we invite you guys to come along with us, all right? Let's start it off. Okay, what's going on, Gina? I got you 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row. Yes, sir.
You getting good at this. Real good.
You're getting bad at it, okay?
happy, blessed day.
Yes, sir. What's going on, Mo B?
What's happening, people?
See, Gina,
Hey,
that's how you be ready. Watch this.
Yeah.
This is how you ready. Watch this.
Wow.
What's good?
Ready.
What's good?
Ready.
Wow. Really?
Ready.
Oh man,
What's
that's
going
hilarious.
on, Natalie, Lady Shutterbug Bird?
Hey, Nat.
What's up? Nat.
Yes. So we are talking about parenting.
Parenting.
Parenting 101.
Yes.
Parenting 101.
So, I mean, is it really that different?
I don't think it is. I'm gonna be honest. I just feel that chastisement is chastisement. It just matters how much of that chastisement are you offering to your child. So,
Well, now, you know, a long time ago, because we're from different eras.
Mhm.
A long time ago, I talked about sparing the rod, spoiling the child.
Mhm.
Okay, but I don't want to amend the Bible, but spare the rod, spare the telephone cord, spare the Hot Wheels track, spare the whole
Bam Bam bats with the big old,
the whole house.
Okay?
Yeah.
We did it all. I mean, that's how we got punished. Okay, that's how we got punished. It wasn't no go stand in the corner or we're gonna take time out. Okay,
No.
Is that right?
Time out.
Yeah.
Time out was when you were knocked out and they were waiting for you to wake back up.
Take
Take a nap.
the time out. Take the
Time
time
out
out
is
to
when
whoop
you
your
playing
butt.
the game. When you playing the game and you had to go use the bathroom. Hold on. Time out, man. Time out. That's what you did. Little Lady Justice says gentle parenting. Gentle children, for example. You can teach your child to fight, but who and when to fight.
There you go.
I guess, but we're going to talk about it. Let's put it like that. Because when I heard the gentleman talking about gentle parenting, that's the first time I ever heard that. Gentle parenting. All right. The very first time I heard that. Matter of fact, got a video about how to gentle parent a child with a tantrum. So y'all check this out. It's real short. Y'all check this out.
well, let's take some deep breaths. And we'll calm down a little bit.
Calm down, Mama.
Okay. But you sound a little like you're still upset.
No, I don't.
Okay. It's okay to be upset, but I need you to calm down before I give you your juice. Okay? You feel more calm? Okay. Can you say please?
Please.
Okay. Here's your juice. Now what do I say?
No.
I think we say thank you. Okay.
I want it.
No, because you're upset and you're squeezing it and we can't squirt juice.
I want it.
We cannot squirt juice everywhere, okay?
I want it.
I know, but I'm not going to let you spray juice all over the car. So when you are calmed down, I can give it back to you. You're not. You are crying.
Yes, I do.
So do we need to take some deep breaths?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so we breathe in. And we breathe out.
No, I want to breathe.
Okay, well, I'm going to wait until you're calmed down, and I will sit here in the parking lot because I cannot give you that juice if you're just going to spray it all over the car. That's not okay. So if you're going to drink your juice nicely.
I want to drink my juice.
Are you going to drink it nicely?
Yeah.
Then here you go, ma'am. Okay, then we're going to Yep, I can't give it to you if you're going to spray it all over my car. That's okay. I'm sorry you're very upset, but we need to be kind of relaxed and actually want to drink the juice and be...
I want to juice.
I know.
I want to go down.
I know, but when I gave you the juice... But when I gave you the juice, you started to squeeze it, and then you started to kick it, and that's not okay. And so you cannot have juice if you're going to act like that.
I want it.
I know you want it, but I think you're kind of too upset to have it.
I want it.
Okay, I would like to give it to you, but we cannot kick it, and we cannot squeeze it.
I know.
We have to just drink it. You seem a little calmer. Wipe your face. You want a baby wipe? Let's wipe our face. Wipe our nose. Wipe our eyebrows, wipe our chin, wipe our belly buttons.
Wipe my belly button.
You don't have to wipe your belly button. There you go.
Interesting. Okay.
Chris says this is post-millennium parenting. Natalie says, "Oh my gosh, sorry, I can't. Just say no already." Now let's discuss this. Let's talk about this. So, well, before that, little lady Justice says, "I have 3 children in my class that throw tantrums and like to scream. At home, their mom whips them, and they still come to school being rough. I always keep my voice lower than them and sometimes walk away. Children see the pattern of attention and they behave accordingly. It's hard, but it's a process that works. Talk to them through tantrum and make them happy while they're sad." I get that. And Lenita says, "Girl, drive off. You told her."
So you can do all this while driving. Quit playing.
There you go. There you go. I was gonna say, where the real mamas at? Because the real mamas be like, give me that. Hold up.
Oh, man.
Took the shoe off. You talking about, hold up.
See,
Chris says he understands the method. Though.
it didn't work though.
Or did it?
My whole thing
Did not
is,
work.
in real life, when that baby grows up, there's not going to be one adult that talks to her like that to get her under control. You're reinforcing bad behavior.
I agree
by
with
letting
Maurice.
Was that child? Did that child actually learn anything, or did she just play the game?
She calmed down to get the juice
so that she can get what she wants. You know,
And that's not reality. You have to prepare your kids for reality. Reality is not like that. You're not going to go to your job, have a tantrum because you don't want to do the work that your boss tells you to do, and he's going to sit there and talk to you, and he's going to say your ass fired.
Swift punishment, exactly.
Yeah. And I have seen it how my brother does my niece, and like when she doesn't get what she wants, he just says no, you're not gonna have it. Like she'll keep crying and everything, and then when she does calm down, because kids, they tire themselves out. You know what I mean? So when she tires herself out, he lets Sophia, that's my niece's name, he lets Sophia get it all out. and then she be. They be like, "Are you okay?" And he be like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And then he proceeds to do whatever. But but she throws a lot of temper tantrums though, so it's kind of 50-50. You know what I mean? Some kids you get to learn. I know it's a woman I work with, Bree, who mentors the girls with us on Saturdays. She has a daughter who is 6. And she said she's always been able to talk to her daughter and reason with her, but her daughter comprehends what she's saying. So she don't catch the tantrum like that. I think it's specific to child, tell you the truth.
There you go. That's what I was going to say.
That right there. So that right there, that's that general example of that lady. I mean, shoot, like I said, in the real world, to me, you just setting them up to fail.
The punishment has to fit the child.
It does have to. It has to
I have 3 children. They're all grown now. My oldest 2 I spanked. My youngest one didn't get spankings because, he just wasn't as bad as they were. Well, as mischievous as they were. And they all have even tempers. Like my oldest 2 that I spanked because, they were a year apart. So they were culprits in crime together, so it was like they both would do things and point the finger at the other one. So but my youngest one was 8 years apart, and so he didn't pick up a lot of those habits like they did from each other, and he was a different type of child where I didn't have to spank. And all what I did with the 3 of them worked well.
Little lady Justice says, right, Mo. Parents have to also say, I said no. You need to listen. You cannot get what you want. Things are taken away for bad behavior. Little lady Justice says she's from Chicago. She's a realist. I just don't touch them. My mom used to beat me with anything in sight. I'm just trying to be opposite.
There you go.
Yeah, anything in sight. I'm telling you, that's the way it was back in the day, man. I told you, the telephone,
shoes, the telephone.
Oh yeah,
that big wooden spoon that she used to hang on the wall.
Oh yeah,
all of that. Everybody say hello to Marcy.
Hey Marcy,
what's going on, Marcy?
Hey,
you know what's so crazy about that is we all got a whooping at school.
Oh yeah, that paddle.
All of us did.
Y'all did.
No, yeah.
I'm saying we did. Yeah, we got whoopings at school.
Yeah,
Marcy probably didn't. She probably laughed at us in the back.
I didn't get many spankings or whoopings growing up because I was just afraid. I was afraid of it, so I just made sure I didn't get in any trouble. So I would. But my third grade teacher
did not play with that.
She used to spank me. I remember that big wooden paddle. She used to spank me in my hand because she was trying to teach me to write right-handed. I was left-handed. And so I couldn't do it with my right hand. And she would just spank me because she would tell me to take that pencil and write. And I couldn't do it.
Was that too much to you, though? Was that too much?
Yes, it was. It was. And it was too much for my mom, too, because she went up to the school. And, she, and back then, they didn't understand left-handed kids. Everything, they were forcing me to do right-handed things.
Yeah,
still don't understand left-handed
kids. So my mom told her, if you hit my daughter one more time, I'm going to hit you.
Boom, there it is.
Byron said, tap that ass and the mind will follow.
Thanks, Byron.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's different. You know what I'm saying? Things are different. Times are different. I understand what the lady was trying to do with her child. Okay, gentle parenting. Like I said, I never heard of gentle parenting until I heard it from
tonight.
Well, yesterday,
and he'll be on a little bit later, and he's gonna. I'm asking him to tell that story that he told. Okay, because it was very interesting how he did. He was off work that day, and instead of going off, like for instance with my son, good kid, but I had to get at him a couple of times. All right, and they say this is going to hurt me a lot more than it's going to hurt you. Okay, it's true. I mean, to me, it's true. But I know when my son got to a certain age, he was like Denzel Washington in Glory. Okay, it was like, pow, and he was like,
exactly.
Hard booty. That's what I call it.
And then he looked at me one time and laughed and said, "You done?" And I'm like,
"Oh no,
I guess I am. I guess I am."
I went to the races on that. Done?
Yeah. Well, it's a different.
Chris.
What's going on, y'all? It's a different
Hey,
time in
Chris.
the era. Hey, it's a different time in the era. Like I've never had to put my hands on my kids. I used to get my butt toe up. You know what I'm saying? I chose not to raise my kids the way I was raised. Once you open up and have a understanding with them, they open up more to you.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like it was stuff that I kept away from my mother, and with me being the oldest, you know what I'm saying? In the house, I should say, as far as kids go, I kept stuff away. It was being sneaky. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, my mother, even though my mother was I ain't gonna say she was the
disciplinary.
Yeah, she didn't do all that, but it was cool. I can take hers. You know what I'm saying? But it was my father that I was like, nah, I ain't messing with. You know.
So you know what to step to.
My father used to be like, yo, get butt naked, put your face in the pillow.
No.
Yeah, that's how it was. That's how it was. I don't want to see your face. Face to the pillow. You know what I'm saying? That only happened 3 times. I was like, yep, I'm not messing with him. I already know.
Exactly.
It took 3. It took 3. And two of them was suspension. So.
But you know, you're absolutely right, Chris. It is a different era. Children are more sensitive now. There's
Child Protective Services.
They're not even. I mean, even with that, but it's not the same.
No.
They're not the same as we were. We were a lot tougher. We spent a lot more time outside. The kids now, it's just a sensitive area. Everything is so sensitive. You got young people who, I mean, I work with millenniums. Yeah, I work with some that are 20 in their 20s, and they're like babies.
Okay, they're like babies, but what happens when? Okay, you've done this gentle parenting, and your child just talks back to you disrespectful. He just disrespects.
But you know that doesn't happen in our culture.
Well, I mean, you only got one time. It happens.
What doesn't happen?
I don't see it happen like when you're in a grocery store and you see someone from different culture and they be cussing and doing all that stuff. It happen like that in our culture. We don't talk back. I mean, we might
get smacked there.
We might do a little bit of puffing. You know what I'm saying? But
they try, Chris.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is they don't try it the way you don't see black kids cussing out black parents.
Oh, you talking about calling them the bees and
all of that. You don't see that.
Yeah,
exactly.
You might see them talk back, especially when they get to a certain age.
I got a video that's different.
Oh.
No, I don't.
I want to see that video.
With my son and my grandkids, I didn't have to whoop them. I was more so, and that's how my sister and I were raised. It was like we would get sat down and they would talk to us, and we just kind of like knew right from wrong. We weren't perfect, but they would, sit us down. And then what was it, Gina, I think, who just said, I was afraid because I would see, I had relatives that got straight up beat downs by the parents, and we were like, we don't want that.
Yeah, and see.
And even like with multiplication tables, you're going to learn this, and they're going to sit up there and start saying, you're going to get each one you get wrong. And we're like, wow. And so for me, that was something I said I never wanted to do with my kids. I only had one. And then my 2 grandkids, I would sit down because number one, kids have different personalities. Number one. Number 2, if you can sit and talk to them first. I've had to maybe take a phone or something like that for a little while, and that just tore them up. That's how you punish now. You take the phone, you take the computer, you take the television as well. But I've never had to go to another stage like that. And like, I have seen in the stores, Black kids kind of get totally out of pocket. And I had to remember because it's like, you just don't do that with your parents.
And you might hear one screaming to the top of their lungs or something in the store.
No, I'm talking about where there's a cuss out, but I've never heard them talk to, call their parents out of pocket. And I think it's because just in our culture, we know, and we've all been taught, get out of pocket in public. I bet you I can beat you getting out of pocket. Wherever you clown, I'll clown with you. Right there.
I like Bill Crawford's explanation of it. You ever look at him or Vel Crawford on
Mm-mm.
that's the
What
best
you saying, Jeff?
explanation.
Now, see, I never got beef for getting out of pocket. See, I used to get, now see, my case is a little different, child. See, I used to get beat for asking questions and trying to gain understanding.
Really?
So, oh yeah, I'm serious, y'all. Mine was a little different, yo, because what would happen was I would just ask my mom like, why, you know what I mean, or what did I do, and I would get the short response, you know what I mean, like, well, because I said so, or because I'm your mama and all this. I'm like, well, I didn't really do nothing. Even my grandparents, I felt more fear from my grandparents than I did my mother. It was because my grandparents, they laid down the law with me, but my mom was just pulling stuff out the sky to just get upset about. It didn't make any sense. That was my childhood. Yo.
Bruce Burnett says, everybody say what's up to Kevin, first of all.
Hey, Kevin.
What's up, Kevin?
What's up, fam?
What's going on?
Bree Burnett said, oh my God, this conversation is alive. Me raising my children compared to the grands and folks I take care of now. It's a lot. Social services and the kiddos on social media totally different from the way we grew up.
Yeah.
So Lady Justice says, yes, see, this is why we shouldn't touch children. Look at everything you all are saying.
I mean, we knew who was getting beat and who was getting a whooping. There's a difference, you know. Abuse is abuse. I mean, you can abuse drugs, you can abuse alcohol. You know what I'm saying? There is a difference.
We made it to. Go ahead, Maurice. I'm sorry.
Abuse is abuse. I mean, we knew who was getting abused, and we knew who was getting a whooping because of something they did. You know.
And forever punishment, where you're on punishment, like say for 6 months at a time for something minor. I knew a family that was like that. It was like
6 months.
For something very minor, it's like you can't go outside, you go to school, you come home.
For 6 months?
Yes, it was like all their lives. This one
That's
family
ridiculous.
was always on a punishment. And that to me was like, well, we know not to call them, ask them if they want to go to the movies or to the game, anything of that nature. They probably
stuff is real.
I remember.
Are we making it so? Are we making the line so wide that these children can do whatever the hell they want to do? I mean, you know, because a long time ago they said, well, hey, you know, dial 911 if anybody touches you, this and that and this and that. You know, they didn't mean your parents. I don't know, but are we making those lines too wide?
You know what my opinion is? I feel like the reason look at the crime that's out here. The crime that's out here is way deeper than the crime we saw growing up. I really feel it's because a lot of these children, they'd have no fear. And if you have no fear, you will go out there and do anything.
Exactly.
Our parents put the fear of God in us. We had fear. We knew that if certain things we did, or we went out in the streets and certain things we did, we were going to catch it. We were going to catch
your child to fear you? Do you want your child to fear you?
Not fear you, but fear things that they're doing that's going to cause them to be in jail, to get out there and get shot, or endanger their lives. We knew boundaries. These young children now don't have any boundaries.
Nope.
And
whatever they do is okay.
That is so true. Just I want to say within the past, let me see, maybe Friday, Thursday or so, Pierce Middle School in Maryville on Facebook, it was a big thing that there was a huge fight. 3 kids. Now this is 7th and 8th grade. 3 young boys jumped on one kid, and they said it was very bad. Police were all up there. Ambulance had to take the poor kid out. I don't know how the baby is now. And I'm saying baby because it's still a child. But back in our days, it wasn't that. It was, 3 kids on one child to beat them so bad where this kid, they said it was really bad.
And they don't fight kids nowadays. They stomp them.
I mean, we had limits set. I'm sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that my parents basically said they had 3 things. This is the rule. These are the consequences. And they were consistent in enforcing the rule. So we knew when we stepped out of line, we knew what was coming. And a lot of times that if we stepped out of line, we deserved the consequences of it. And we knew the risk.
And you knew it was coming.
Yep. And so sometimes we didn't take the risk because it wasn't worth it. And, like Gina said, kids don't respect their elders. I grew up in a neighborhood where, if you did something, the neighbors caught you, it was just as bad as your parents catching you.
Right.
And now, because no one wants to get involved,
They end up in
they
jail
turn
now.
a blind eye.
Well, because a lot of times kids have guns, they have knives now. Before we used to fight with our fists, and now you have all these weapons. You don't know what's coming, a bullet flying past you,
Yeah.
and like you said, about you knew the consequences.
Yeah.
So this is how it was, and they were consistent with it. I've been in stores where I've heard. No, let me tell you a story. When my son was younger, we were on a hayride, and this mom was talking to her son. And all of a sudden, he turned to her and said, "If you say one more thing to you, I will smack you." And all the other parents on the wagon, we just kind of like stopped. And then I broke the silence. I said, "I got 5 on little Bobby." The mother shut up. The mother shut up immediately, and I didn't mean to, instigate, but it was funny because she shut down immediately, and I'm sitting up here like,
how come he ain't flipping off that hayride?
off the wagon. Are you like? We were like, we shut up, and we're like, okay, so what you handle that?
Right.
And I see that a lot now in the stores, where the parent like, come on, so and so and so and so. No, shut the F up, you fat so and so. And I'm like,
yeah.
But one thing I have to say. There is a difference between a spanking and child abuse.
Yes,
Lord.
Yes,
we are not saying, I just want to say this, we are not saying to abuse your children. That's not what we're saying here. But there is a time when a child could use a swift spanking.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Well,
but one of the things that I didn't allow for their father to whoop our daughter, because to me that is setting a precedent that a man can hit you. So he never spanked her.
I got a comment. So, and Marcy, don't take this the wrong way. So you said you didn't get spanked when you was little, right?
Not really. They just talked to us, and we were afraid.
I think you're lying because it looked like you got the black smacked off of you.
Shut up.
This man.
Did we really have to pause for that?
I knew it was going somewhere. I didn't know it was gonna go though.
I froze up. I was like, what? Wait a minute. I thought he might have been there and seen a butt whooping or something. Like,
I thought he had the video.
I do have a video though. We showed a video of gentle parenting from an alternative. Let's just say white. Okay. Here's black. Gentle. Here's black gentle parenting. All right.
Let's see.
Check it out.
Do we run in the house? Right. Do you know why? Look around. You see all this furniture? Ever stub your toe? It hurts, right? Now imagine if you trip and stub your face or break an arm or bust your head to the white meat. It hurt, right? Right. So outside, there's a lot less stuff for you to trip over. Stuff isn't close together. So you can run around outside, right? Good. So you have your inside and outside voice, and you have your inside and outside feet. Now, when can you run inside the house? Right. And? Good. And? Perfect. So for the rest of the day, I want to see you either outside running or inside walking. Can we do that? All right. If we do this again and you're running around again, I'm going to have you sit down and you're going to do a quieter activity. You understand? All right, cool. Gone. Running my light bill sky high.
Now see, I like that because you put that fear in them. No, you letting them know that it something gonna come.
Happen.
You know what I mean? Something gonna happen.
That other one, they didn't care because they kept on screaming to the top of their lungs at their mama.
And then had the other baby crying.
Yeah. Started the
Exactly. Because what's gonna happen is that child is gonna test that brother. That child gonna test that brother. I was gonna take it one time, and then they're gonna be like, I ain't doing that again. Nope, I'm done. He said the white meat.
So let's get back to what Gina was saying. Okay, Gina said she don't see anything wrong with spanking the child. Is that what you said, Gina?
That's what I said.
She don't see anything wrong with spanking the child. Okay. Nowadays it's different. Again, okay. Um, Byron says Marcella waited until she got to be an adult to integrate spanking. Reverend Brandon says you don't have to whoop your child all the time to make them behave.
No, it isn't. And I agree.
Exactly.
Illness in the Black community.
But let me ask you this. Let me give a scenario. What if you got a runner, and that's what we call them, those little ones that just take off running? What if you got a runner? What do? Do you just constantly talk to them?
You use your spidey sense.
You have to insert something to keep, because now the child is in danger. They could actually run out in the street and get hit by a car.
That's what duct tape's for.
You know, they put them kids on leashes too nowadays.
Oh no,
I don't
no,
like those.
No, I saw that.
I think
like Cat Williams said, that's just entertainment for Black people.
I think it depends on how many kids you have. Okay, if you have 4 or 5 kids, and that one wants to run out and get hit by a car, okay, it's been nice knowing you for 5 years.
You got some more kids left.
Said, that's your
You
consequence.
got 3 left.
We got a couple spares.
One of the issues now.
No, Greg. It's simple. Grab them and let them know. This is the fire right here in his hand.
You know,
you got to scoop them up one time, let them know. You can't be running off like that.
And I'm opening doors. Go ahead, Marcella.
One of the issues now is some parents wait until they are so angry, and then they go overboard.
I've seen that before.
You know, and then it's crossing. It can cross the line. But I want to go back to something Gina said. She never allowed her husband to hit the kids because then your girls
Hit the girl.
because then it's like kind of telling them that it's okay for a man to hit you. Is that what you said? Something like that?
Yes.
So if you hit them, because now women are just as wicked as some of these men out here as far as abuse is concerned. So you didn't think that was telling them it's okay for a female to hit you as well?
No.
Because you can do that both ways, because again, things have changed. A lot of times these women out here, especially with the fighting and things like that, they're much worse than the men.
Yeah, it wasn't like that back in the day. You know, my kids are in their 30s, late 30s. So you didn't have all that's going on here. That's why you do have to realize what era we in. We are in a different era. You have to adjust.
Listen to what Brandon says. He says that you can come that's different, but what I'm saying, kids will be kids, but at the same time you just teach them. Discipline is different than beating them. That's what he's saying.
Yes.
He says a whooping and a beating are 2 different things.
Absolutely.
And see, and that's why when if you're gonna give a child a whooping, if you're gonna resort to that, you have to have an explanation back behind that. You just don't beat a kid and just say because I'm the parent and I'm the adult and just walk away.
Right.
You know, it's people who do that and they believe that that's how they're supposed to properly parent. No, you have to. That child has to understand why they got beat, so then they don't do the same action that they did before. You just can't because if you enforce that because I'm the parent so long, that's gonna get old, and that child will test you and push you to the limit, and then, like Marcella said, you're gonna blow up because you're tired of that.
But the thing is, if you do it in that manner, the child has no idea why they're getting a whipping or getting beat. So
Exactly.
It continues. The pattern continues,
Yep.
and it's like, okay, I'm just like you said. Why did you say your mom just pull something out the air and be like, okay, whoop, you know, whatever, and you don't know. So, and that was my philosophy, to talk. I had someone in my life that came around, and they used to just constantly doing things. And I would just blow up. I didn't whoop this child. It wasn't mine. And I was like, wait a minute. You know, and why did you do this? You know, and then it hit me. The child was not truly parented before they came in around me in my life. So the child just didn't know. So when, instead of me blowing up, I would say, have a seat. Let's talk. You can't just do this and do that because of this. There will be consequences. And the first time I started doing that, this young man looked at me like, what are you talking about? Wait a minute, what? Well, I always just do. No, baby, you can't do that. You can't take things that don't belong to you and give them to other people. You can't just go into other people's items, and just do this, and you can't do this to this person or that, and you shouldn't be lying because you're going to be caught.
And that's,
And
you
so
know what,
once I
Marcy,
started,
though, that works for, like I said,
some
you
people.
have to, the punishment has to fit the child. That may work for some children. Let
Right.
me have put one of my children, one that, and sat down and talked to, they'd be like, take my sister, for instance. My sister was like, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I'm going to get in trouble anyway, so I'm going to have fun.
Oh.
And for my mother to sit her down and talk to her, she'd be like, that's all I'm going to get? I'm going to do worse.
Hey, let me get some of these comments in real quick. Brandon says it's all in how you've been raised. Like men telling other young men, stop crying, you're going to be weak. Men don't cry. That's why we have so many unstable and unfit men in the Black community. Yeah. Keep your emotions in as a form of beating a child too. Keeping your emotions in is a form of beating a child too. Continuing to tell young men don't cry because they would be weak, it's disturbing. Byron says, and all of this is why swallowing beats birthing.
Well, Byron.
From the mind of Byron.
Sherry Vachon, she's watching us on LinkedIn. She says we must teach respect.
Yes.
She says, I have 4 children. They were all different. My oldest, I didn't need to spank. My son got a few. My middle girl was my biggest challenge, and whooping didn't work for her. Punishments kept her in line. And my baby girl, we take away her technology. Absolutely.
Different personality.
Different time.
That's perfect for the generation.
Spanking should not always be your form of punishment. It should not be the only thing you revert to.
Exactly.
Because then that's when you get that behavior, Marcy, where a child is expecting to be beat because that's what that's what came every time they did something out of pocket. So that should not always be your form of punishment.
Correct.
We're harping on beatings and whippings, okay, but verbal abuse is just as bad. All right.
Oh, without a doubt.
It is.
When you trying to de-escalate your child or whatever you want to call it, okay, and telling them they're nothing, they're going to be this, they're not going to do this, they're not going to do that, okay, sit your ass down, okay, all of that stuff.
That's emotional and mental abuse.
That's horrible.
And see, I got a lot of that when I was younger.
Yeah.
And see,
but the children today, you got to outsmart, because I remember my youngest son did something. And the worst thing I could ever say to him, I walked away and said, look, I am so disappointed in you. I let that hang on. And he straightened up. And he to this very day, he says the worst thing that dad has ever did is like when I lost dad's respect, when he said he was disappointed. And I was like surprised.
And see, that could have very much so worked for me because I was never a hostile child. I never got out of line, out of pocket, none of that stuff. But I experienced a lot of that verbal too, along with that. So see, and a lot of times what people don't understand, see, when you deal with that type of parenting, and see, I love my mother to death. You know what I mean? Despite all the stuff that I went through when I was young and everything, I love my mother because I got respect for her. You know what I mean? But when you start looking at it, it puts a wedge in between you and your parent.
Exactly.
Like it's certain things like if I call my mom, and I'm just being very honest while we're on the show because I feel that if I be candid, somebody else can learn from my own experience. You know what I mean? So the thing is like, even with today, I call my mom. I can't be on the phone with her longer than 30 minutes, yo. Sometimes longer than 15, 20 minutes because it ain't going to go nowhere. It's how I know how she felt about me. How I know when I was raised, she said I was more like my dad and everything. She didn't like the fact that I asked questions. My brother got away with murder, y'all. My brother got away with murder. And it took till I was in my 20s and we moved with my grandparents for my grandparents to finally hear all the stuff that I was telling them for years. My whole family. I told them that's how I was getting treated. They just said, Jeff, well, just respect your mother. That's your mother. That's all I always got. It wasn't until I got older they finally recognized and saw it, and then we finally confronted the issue. But that type of stuff can have long-term effects, yo.
Yeah, and a lot of times.
See, we must teach respect. And Lanita says, I always told my children and still do, there's nothing you can't tell me. I may not like it or agree, but I'm here to listen, defend, correct, share, and love you. Go ahead, Marcia.
Absolutely. A lot of times we have to look at when you have these children that you feel that you need to keep spanking or you have to talk in that manner too. Sometimes there's an underlying root to what's happening. It could be the child is trying to get attention, and maybe this is the only attention I actually get from this parent. If I act up, then they're going to notice me. And not saying about you, Jeff, but
Oh,
that's
yeah,
something
I
else
understand.
we need to look at. But when you start talking about not the mental and emotional abuse, that is very prevalent to allow the children. And having worked out of school and being able to really talk to kids, you see that a lot. Whereas there are kids I'm talking, trying to talk to, and I see some things going on, and they're like, "Well, I'm just stupid."
Let me
That's what my family's always told me. And so
Exactly.
they start believing. So we have to watch our words. That sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt. That is such a wrong quote. Words are very, very powerful, and there's a lot of power. And I've said this before, in our words, you can speak life to someone or you can speak death. So that's
right,
something
Marcy.
that we truly have to watch in disciplining our kids. And just because we were raised a certain way, or you can't be bringing, well, that's how my mama treated me, or that's how my daddy treated me. How did you feel about it? You didn't like it?
Exactly.
Change that dynamic.
And Marcy, so true of words that you're speaking. If you look back to the source or the history, and look at the difference between our melanated people versus our lighter, brighter people, and look at the way we discipline our children, ask us why we beat our children in order to get them to be submissive, and look at the other side and why they talk and communicate. So is this something systemic that's been taught? Because we witnessed early on in our development that in order to get someone to submit, they have to be beat or beat to death and whatever. And what has happened through generation after generation up until where we're at right now, the things that were taught and caught, children are now saying, even with myself, I remember I took a whooping for my kids. When I brought my oldest son to visit my grandmother, he was playing with the Lazy Susan, it was one of those things we didn't touch in the house. And my grandmother went after him, and I actually dove into it for the first lick I got as a grown up. I'm going, "You don't hit my child." And my grandmother said, "If your child can't abide by the rules, you're not welcome." I took my child to the hotel because it wasn't worth the beating. So the thing we've got to do is disconnect where the origin of beating our children, connect and be able to have the conversation to educate our children based on what they did and what the consequences are and where it falls. And that's,
So you're connecting it with the history of slaves.
That's why I says it's just systemic. I can't even say the word today.
Systemic.
Yeah,
you connect it with slavery. I'm with you. I understand it, and you could see the root. I mean, up until now, you can see that. But I do think it was fairly effective, especially raising melanated children. I mean, it's a definite difference to me because of the slavery thing, because our kids are a little bit, I'm gonna say it like they're just a little bit more harder. You know what I mean? Not harder to raise, just a little bit more harder. And you got to think quicker. You got to think a lot deeper for our kids.
They're a lot smarter.
Exactly. I mean, you got to have some brain. You got to have 2 steps ahead of them. If you don't have it, you're gonna get run over, whether you give them a whooping or not. And again, there's a difference of giving them a whooping than it is beating them. I've seen abuse. Abuse is what it is. I mean, it's doing it the wrong way. Period.
We're still talking about whipping, though. Okay, I mean, we understand whipping is not actually the way to do it. It's okay sometime, I guess, according to what we're saying on the panel. Okay, but let's talk about that gentle parenting. All right, and I guess culturally, gentle parenting may work in one culture and won't work in another. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know. My son's big now, so I don't got to deal with all of this stuff. But I want to make sure that we categorize this stuff and define it accurately. So it, and I'm gonna talk to Kevin for a second. Gentle parenting, is that the way to go now?
I don't know if gentle parenting is there. You've got to justify whatever the circumstances is and connect the dots to the consequences of that conversation or whatever. I mean, the one time that my son did something that was so horrific that I wanted to break his neck, and I told him what I was going to do, and my son quickly diffused it. He goes, "So how's that going to make you feel?" And I'm going, "Boy, I'm mad." And I had to think about it. So if I actually hurt him, it'd probably hurt me more than. And I had to leave the room because I had to calm down and de-escalate how I was feeling. Because one, I was tired. I had been working. I just came in and I had to deal with something his mother should address, and she left the hard part for me. And I wasn't ready for it. And all of a sudden, he jumped. You know how teenagers get when they start to want to be the alpha male. Yeah. And it's like, I've never in my life, except for one time, I have to say one time, I thank God I was fast. I jumped up in my father's face and thought I was a man. Bad decision. And my son did it to me. And but the only difference is I ran. My son stood there and was like, "You're gonna take me out." I'm going, son, I'll introduce you to heaven. And I had to leave the house because I got that bad, because it was a matter of respect. And I said, I never got to the point that I respected my parents or any other adult, that I stood up and I challenged them and stuck my chest out like I'm going to beat you down.
So look, and you brought up a good point. Okay, these kids, man, they will test you. They will definitely test you. But do we threaten them? Because Kevin said he had to walk out the room. He had to leave. All right. At what point does that fear factor come in? All right, or you said you I'm gonna break your neck. Okay, I've told my son I used Mr. Cosby. I brought you in this world, I can take you out. Okay,
yeah.
And my father said, Bill Cosby said that, didn't he? It didn't work. Okay, I mean, so hey, real quick, Byron says I only got a threat from the kid on calling the police on me once, and I handed her the phone and told her to feel free to call them. But don't hang up, because I'm going to shove that phone up your ass so that they can hear me kicking your ass until you're gone. Needless to say, she didn't call the police or ever threaten me again.
Oh my God!
I guess he said, if I'm going to jail, I need let me have a good reason.
We had a good conversation about that. And the conversation about that was, if you call anybody on me, police, teacher, school, if you call anybody on me, evidently I'm not doing a good job, they're going to take care of you for the rest of your life, or the rest of your child life, because I'm not going to do it.
Hey, now let me pause for a second real quick. So as I said yesterday, I was looking at a post. There was a young man who he's in his 30s, actually early 30s, and he was talking about his child. Okay, matter of fact, you know what? Everybody welcome Jeff Creel to the show.
Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
What's going on? How y'all doing?
Great.
So Jeff, I was telling them, matter of fact, I shared your post to the crew. Can you tell us about what you were talking about yesterday?
Oh, so yesterday I had a experience with my daughter that I'm assuming everybody here has kids, so they all had them. I may or may not be the youngest one here, so I'm probably closer to the baby stage than everybody else. But my daughter was having a very impossible day, where no matter what, she's 4, about to be 5. I've tried everything that I knew how to try to get her to calm down so we can just brush hair, brush teeth, put shoes on, go to school. So I've seen a lot of posts with the gentle parenting, and when I first seen those, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's initially what I because I didn't get parented like that. And then you say things like, I didn't get parents like that, I turned out just fine. Well, maybe you got some issues that you don't know about.
Right.
Exactly.
Because I remember being told to just shut up if you had a question. Now,
Why you was crying?
If you get told to do so, why are you crying? If you keep crying, I'm gonna give you something to cry about. Well, I'm already crying. So
Yeah.
Hitting me again is not doing anything. And that's my mother did the best she had. It was just her, so I understand that. But anyway, my daughter was being very difficult. And I even correct myself saying that she was being very forward. I'll say that instead. If anybody was being difficult, it was me not being able to switch gears fast enough. I've been here longer than her. So I need to be the one to switch gears. And sometimes you only got so many damn gears and you just can't switch them no more. But oh my God, man, I was telling her, baby girl, just keep your shoes on, until we get to school. Lo and behold, the second we get to school, I turn back there to get her. Both shoes are off. And growing up in my household as a kid, you'd have probably got popped for that too. And then you realize that, yeah, she's had a tantrum that's been 20 minutes, but to continuously pop her for each incident, I just didn't feel like that was beneficial.
I see.
Okay, we got a pause here.
And giving her a negative energy. How you think them teachers going to respond to her? And I'd be damned if somebody else spank her or lash out at her for being so frustrated with it, which is a normal response. We all get our cup runneth over, and mine was ran up. So I asked her if she wanted to listen to her favorite song in the car, and she said no. I said, all right, well, I'm going to shut the car off, and we're going to sit here for just 2 minutes and be quiet, just so you can allow your blood pressure to go down a little bit. And I said, are you ready to go in the school building? And she was not ready. But we went anyway. And it was tough. Like, y'all saw the video, what I explained, but I don't remember what I said verbatim, but it was very difficult. And it made me think about those gentle parenting videos. Now, I don't like the ones where they just say, this is what I did and this worked, because BS.
Right.
BS, because those kids will make you do, and they'll make you go back to what you're used to doing, but you'll have to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. Like tonight, for instance, the reason why I'm late to the call is that my daughter was being impossible going to bed again. In my household growing up, after you acted a fool, I whooped your butt. You went to bed, and I'm closing the door. Wow. I can hear my daughter in there almost hyperventilating, crying. It's like, all right, she's been doing this for 5 minutes. I went and took a shower to see if she was going to stop. She wasn't done. It's not going to kill me to go back in there. So I go back in there. I don't say nothing to her. I pick her up and I put her on my chest. And I just say, listen to the way I'm breathing and try to make your body do what I'm doing. And she sat there. And it took about a half an hour. But she eventually started to calm down. I was like, all right, we got to do better tomorrow, bro. I got to go. I love you. Good night. I'm not going to do a long talking to you because she's only 4. She's not going to remember anyway.
Exactly.
You don't got to berate them and belittle them. My mother used to tell me, you messed up, right? Like, what? Like, yeah. I already got the whooping. I'm already grounded. I'm already. Why are you reminding me that I messed up today? And I messed up a lot. A C+, D- student. So I definitely got a lot of talking tos, but I noticed that there's other ways to do things, especially with the videos I saw, which it was just, and usually it was white parents, which is very frustrating to me, because it's almost like, again, I've noticed in my life that the white way is the right way, and I hate that. But you don't see too many black parents on there. If you do see a video on Facebook of a black parent and gentle parenting, they're usually making fun of it. They're usually not acknowledging that, hey, maybe this is not that bad. Now, I still spank my daughter from time to time, but I try to make them farther in between. Like if she's getting ready to grab a knife or something, sometimes you just might need a quick pop it. All right, but it don't need to be with a belt or beating. I mean, hell, my mother told me my grandmother used to whoop them with extension cords. I'm like, what the?
Yep.
Like, to me, my brain can't even fathom grabbing an extension cord. You know how long it takes to go get an extension cord and unplug it and wrap it up?
Very long.
Not long. Just grab the
in my mind, I'm just like, what the? That's like,
not very long.
How was that okay? And then no wonder my mother was maybe very passive aggressive when I got some whoopings. I definitely got some whoopings from her having a rough day at work. I'm for sure of that.
What about when you had to go walk out there and get your own switch?
See, I don't know nothing about that neither. My mama used to make me kick
I've been there.
He is the baby.
My mother.
Yeah, I'm young. My mom used to make me go pick a belt. She would do that, and I better not pick my baby sister little belt. No, I better get a.
You better not got a little switch. They would go out there and grab the whole tree.
The razor belt, the razor, the belt that the men used to use to sharpen their razors with. I've heard.
See, I don't even know nothing about that.
Well, those belts are they're basically the thick belts that like everybody's father used to wear back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but those are also the same belts that's on the backside that you're able to sharpen your razor with.
You know I didn't even know such a thing existed.
So it kind of looked like, I think I got one over here.
Oh no! Hey, look, while you're looking for your belt, little lady Justice says, "Don't say white way, the right way. White folks hit their kids too. Personal experience. They be fake in public. Self-control is the right way." He didn't say. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't take offense with it. Maybe she might not have caught all of it. I said it from my experience. I've heard, and it's felt like it's me that the way that we do it is wrong, and when they do it, you know, it's right or it's better. You know, it's almost like being told that you talk white. And so that's associated with being proper. No, I was in trouble a lot in school. My mother made me read the dictionary, so I learned how to talk the right way. But anyway, yeah, I didn't mean anything about their way is right. I mean, I'm sure everybody hits their kids at a certain point. It's the objective is to try to do it less, I think, and maybe not at the slightest offense.
That's what I brought up earlier.
I think it could be a little bit deeper than just than them pissing me off, because maybe I'm pissed off about this 10-hour workday I had.
Exactly.
And her maybe slight disrespect was just there was no more room for talking, which is not fair to her. It ain't her fault I worked 10 hours.
Yeah.
It was not her fault.
But sometimes you just gotta have that understanding. Like when we grew up, it was my way or the highway. And it's still that way now, but it's more of a verbal communication now.
Let's talk about
it. Wasn't a verbal. Yeah, because you got to remember back. I don't know how old you are, Jeffrey, but back when we were growing up, or especially when I was growing up. Okay, so I'm 45.
Really, baby.
Yeah, so I'm 45. So back in those days, we used to be able to be disciplined by our neighbors before we even got home.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? If they caught you doing something wrong, they was able to discipline you. And your parents get it right. It's not like it is now, like, don't touch my kid. None of that. It was none of that.
Or you get another one when they got home.
I will.
Yeah, when it said it takes a village to raise a child, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
And Chris, I see you grabbed the strap and you took off running.
Oh yeah,
you got the strap in your hand.
This might traumatize you, Jeff. Jeffrey and Jeff, well, both of the Jeffs. The 30, I'm gonna call y'all the 30 Jeffs.
Yes.
This might traumatize y'all. So my grandmother, and this is the only time I messed with her. So I was basically being a bad child. She told me to go pick a switch, right? I went to go pick a switch. I picked a small one. Wait. I picked a small one. She's like, "Oh, you think this is a game?" She went out and got 3 of them.
Oh,
hold on, Greg. Wet it.
You got that real one.
That's spring.
You got that real one.
Not like that.
Hey, Marcy, listen to this. Put it in the oven. Dry.
I've never heard of that.
I have. They do that down south.
She was a true OG.
That's called
way down south. Oh my God.
So what?
That's a fishing pole.
What is it?
I've been hit with the switch before, Chris. I've been hit with the switch before, and I had to pick my own, and I was so upset. I threw them over the fence, and then my great grandmother said, "Oh no, we ain't got time for this," and she picked fresh new ones, and I got my butt toe up with that bad boy.
Yeah.
I know that switch.
That's where the double Dutch dance came from.
Yeah, that was. But you got to realize back then too, it was raised how you was raised, and the post millennials is what I call them. The post millennials, we started changing that way of raising kids. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a situation where, because you got to also realize too, at that time when it came to the post millennial kids that was born, it was kids raising kids at that time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Didn't
it
know how
wasn't
to, didn't know how to do no discipline.
right.
So,
We didn't know nothing about discipline at that time.
so 30 Jeffs. Are y'all scared? What happened to ain't y'all just blessed that y'all made it past that? Didn't have to go through all of that bullshit?
Hold up.
Oh
Wait a
man,
minute.
that's crazy.
Wait,
Yeah.
excuse me. Before you
I was
answer that,
wondering.
can we put some life coaching in this? Let's redirect, regroup, refocus, please. Our life coach, Jeff Friel.
Stay where you at, Jeff Creel. We got life coach Jeff Friel for there. Thanks, Marcy. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. So the question we pose today is gentle parenting a good thing, or is it something we should integrate into our lifestyle of parenting? Now, from what we've talked about, we've hit some highs and some lows. So the thing is this, gentle parenting fits certain children. You know, you have to be able to go ahead and really, like Gina said earlier, you have to go ahead and match the crime with the punishment, or the punishment with the crime. You know what I mean? So if a little spanking or pop on the bottom is required, handle that. But if you could take another route, nobody's saying that just because you took an alternative route, that doesn't mean that your kid is going to be perfect. But at least you're trying something different to see how you can be relatable more to that child. And you don't know. Maybe if you take away less whoopings, maybe your child, as you get older, might be a little more open to you. As Chris said earlier, might be a little more open to you, rather than you always beating him or her just because they looked at you sideways, or they said something wrong, or they chose to elevate their voice. Understand that your kids are kids too, and you used to be a kid as well. So try to put yourself in their shoes while you're parenting your child.
Get real.
Redirect, regroup, refocus. That's life coach Jeff Friel. Let me ask you, Jeff, because I've seen a lot of your videos where you got your kid, you're riding around on the go-kart, you're showing the different things. Okay, is that a way to kind of suppress some of the anxiety that kid has?
Not so much anxiety. I don't think she really gets anxiety about that. I think if anything, her biggest anxiety at 4 is just having no choices. So I like to let her do things that are maybe most 4-year-olds don't do. I mean, my daughter's had power tools. She's turned wrenches. She's worked on cars with me. I try to let her do things that are like way above her age to make her feel important, even for 20 minutes.
Empowered and all.
I mean, I've heard her go to school and say, "My daddy let me use this and that." Like, I don't mess around. If my daughter come to the garage with me, she'll go in the toolbox and grab something. That's just I wanted her to just have some time where it's kind of loose. Not as many rules, because everything is rules, and as she's getting older, they piling up more and more, and it's like, damn, when does she have a chance to breathe? So now that she's getting older, it's all you got a little bit of chores, baby, more responsibility. So I try to give her something that's just a little more free. And I mean, we try to go kart in the snow. I mean, all that.
Fun.
Just to do something, man. It's just no rules for a little bit.
Yeah, and see, that's a good. To me, that's a good thing, because we've come up in different eras, all right. But to be as young as you are, and to have those parenting skills, because you've learned some things from your parent, but a lot of this stuff you had to do on your own.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You had to learn it. It's trial and error. You had to do it on your own. And I've seen some of the videos, man. I've known you for quite some time, actually. So I'm so proud of the way that you're doing what you're doing. Okay, it's
right on. Thanks.
You got to live your best life, okay? And raising a child is part of living your best life. All right,
without a doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I've been on both sides of the coin, because I raised my kids, which are the millenniums. They're in their 30s. And I'm raising my granddaughter, who's the technology. I don't know what they call them, but she's in the technology. She's 12.
Gig.
I've never ever spanked my granddaughter, because you know what, as a grandparent, you feel like, okay, this is your second chance to make up for those mistakes. I never spanked her.
No.
But let me tell you, the process of not spanking her, it was years of building up. It seemed like courage to stand toe to toe with me. I never spanked her, but I would send her to her room, take her phone, take her computer. And so year number 11, it came where she, she would started throwing these little mouthing things at me, just these little mouthing things.
Oh, you got to have it now.
Age 11, it went further. Before I knew it, I hauled off and I knocked her out the chair. That was the first, and I think it probably shocked her more than it hurt her. She got up from there. I said, now call your mom and call your dad and tell them I just knocked the heck out of you.
That ain't what you said.
That is what I
did
said.
to Chris Rock knocked up out of you.
I don't curse at my children. I didn't curse at my children. I don't curse at my granddaughter. I don't think grown-ups should curse at children.
I like that.
And so she cried. She talked to her mom. She talked to her dad. Do you know the next day she came to me and said, Nana, I am so glad you did that to me. I think she knew what she was doing, and I think she was taking it further and further to see how far she could get with me.
Pushing the buttons.
And that knocked senses into her. She's never done that to me since.
She probably done talk to her mama about a few things too, and her daddy.
Hey, check this out. Ella says she didn't get that many whoopings and never for the same thing. But Felicia says, I told my mom, get your own switch. You know what kind you like.
What?
Girl.
Felicia gonna be down for me.
All right, Felicia. She was heavy in the game. She was a very confident child.
He would not said that to John Netta.
Hey, Felicia, your mom must have been saved because you still here able to talk about it.
Man, yeah.
Look, I don't think it had saved. You've been here.
When my nephew told his grandmother, my mom, that he stood up to her too. She said, what do you want to do? You want to get a whooping or you want to fight me? He said, I want to fight. My mother hauled off and hit him. They had knocked him cold out. They had to call the ambulance. They had my sister had to
What
call
happened to him? He ran into a car.
So
she
he ran into a right cross.
It takes no meaning to he asked for it.
Let me ask you this, because I was just thinking something I did to my kids. You guys tell me if it's abuse.
Abuse.
When my daughter was about,
you gotta ask that. It's abuse.
Gotta ask. It probably is, brother.
when my youngest daughter was about to enter first grade, my oldest son decided to take, before they got on the bus, to take my daughter, which had hair all the way down to the middle of her back, shave her bald, and then when I walked in the room, he was shaving his brother's head bald. So I shaved all of them bald and sent him to school. Is that child abuse?
Yes. That's child abuse.
That's
I
pretty
wouldn't
bad.
say it's child abuse. It's definitely not fair.
I got a person.
Child abuse. Wow.
I got a person.
I know, right, John?
That's mental.
Look, I got a personal story for you. So my brother is 5 years younger than me, and he had long hair, and I cut his hair. When he was 2, I was 7. I cut his hair because I got tired of people asking me, "Is that my little sister?"
Do he look like that now? I look now.
He got dreads now.
Oh, really? I'm surprised it grew back.
Okay.
Right. Fire says my parents had no problem asking me if I wanted to be a guest of honor at Guy and Allen funeral home. Felicia Price said, "You a petty daddy."
You a petty daddy.
I like that one.
Hey, Jeff,
Oh, man.
Jeff Trail, let me ask you, man, because we mentioned sparing the rod and spoiling the child. Okay, do you believe in that? Sparing the rod, spoiling the child.
I don't. No, that's too vague. I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wait a minute.
That's way too vague. No.
Yeah.
It's spoil them, and see, the term spoil it just sounds so bad. And I got a girl too, so maybe I'm like shouldn't even be asked this question. But spoil them in spurts, in situations. Like sometimes we have like daddy-daughter days where like I let you do stuff that your mama probably wouldn't let you do. But we cooling it now. We're gonna stay up late. We're gonna eat ice cream.
Yeah.
If sometimes me and my daughter we have sleepovers where I let her stay up. Sometimes 1, 2 in the morning. My only rule is you gotta brush your teeth before you go to bed. Other than that, I don't care what we do. That's spoiling, but that happens once a month. That's spoiling. But for me to say, no, baby, you can have that toy even though you've been flopping on the store. No, we're not doing that. That's
See, my father and mother, spare the rod my father said, ain't none of my kids ever gonna be spoiled ever in life. Okay, he would find the rod, he would find the water hose, he would find whatever
The
he could
water
find that
hose.
was flexible enough for him to
House shoe.
noise. The noise is what scared me. The whoosh. That's what got me.
That was enough.
If he
You
missed,
know what?
if he missed once, then I'm gonna get it twice. All right. So with me, this is how I got off of getting whippings. Period. Okay. So my mom used to do the switch thing. All right. And so one time she had whipped me, and I love you, mother. Mother's Day's coming up. I love you. And one time it just, I guess she hit me with the thorn edge, and there was a little cut in my leg. It bled a little bit, right? So she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry." Okay, and I was like, "Okay, I got her now." So
see, you see what I'm saying?
So what I did was, every
man.
time I got was supposed to get a whipping, I would make these little cuts.
Oh no!
Make these little cuts in my leg. All right.
Oh man.
And as
Very
soon as she
strategic.
hit it once, Mama, I'm bleeding. Okay. And she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, that's okay. But don't you do it again." But she told my father come home from work off of the midnights. Okay.
Ooh,
He'd grab his belt like Chris's and he'd say, "Bow, bow, 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 bow. Hey, go fix me a sandwich." He done. Okay? And so he don't talk, he don't say nothing. We knew he was in trouble. My father was hungry when he came home. Whip us and then go get a sandwich. There was no spoiling at all. Period. None.
But you know what? What Jeff Krill said, I don't consider that spoiling. I really consider that great parenting because you're spending a lot of quality time with your daughter, and that's something that we need. Yes, and that's something that we need more of because she knows. And I like also the way how you're like, okay, I'm gonna give you some time. Let's do some quiet time. Let's get it quieted down and things of that nature. Because I did mention earlier, I said we need to see sometime what is the root of why, if a child is acting out,
right.
There might be something else that we don't see, we don't know about, and it doesn't always take a spanking. Now, if you're talking to your child and you're saying different things, and it keeps going on, that's a little bit different. But I still think maybe we can take it to maybe a punishment, take something away type of attitude or whatever. But like you said, you might be coming back from 10 hours. You might have had something going on at work, or if you're married or something in a relationship, something's going on here, and then your child might do something slight, and then you're actually taking it out on your child when you're thinking it's because of what the child did, but it's really because he's still mad from something back here.
Right,
right. Means you for how, as a Black father, a parent, how you're parenting your daughter. So your daughter is being taught, she's getting closer to you, and she's also being taught how she is to be treated by a man. So I commend you. I thank you.
But you know what? As they get older, their personalities are going to change.
Yeah.
The discipline is going to have to change.
Exactly.
And that's what happened with my granddaughter.
Yeah.
He got to a point where she felt like, oh, she don't spank me. She, I can get away with this. Let me try this. And so that discipline has to change. And sometimes it might be spankings as they get a little bit older. You never know. Like I said, it all depends on the child. And I like exactly what Felicia said. If we don't discipline them, the police will.
You want to
discipline those your children.
That's
I came
true.
into a situation like that where I took my son to the hospital. Now my son has keloid skin, and so every scar that he's always had was on his body. When I went to the hospital and took him to the hospital because he fell out of a tree and sprained his ankle, they called DCFS on me, and they came out. Salt. My house was clean, food was in there, and the DCF worker told me, we don't have a case here, but if you ever spank your child, we'll be back. I said, you know what? Either I'm going to spank him and make sure that the police don't get him. I said, but if the moment that he's breaking in your house and stealing your goods, then you're going to want to spank him.
Then you want to shoot him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Then you want to discipline him.
Yeah. See.
Let's
Well, then
hope
you're
your
gonna say what
granddaughter
happens
doesn't
with
watch
mama.
this
Why
video.
somebody take care of him?
Right.
That's what they're gonna say.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, I got a question for you. Are you any kin to Tony Crib?
Say that one more time.
Are you any kin to Tony Crib?
Man, you know what? I probably am. I actually, not to change the subject. I actually went to my father's funeral this past weekend, and I got so many people with my last name that came up to me and was like, "Hey, yo, you used to play on my porch on Hovey Street, like when you was 3 or 4 years old." I'm just like, "Hey, I'm grown now, but I probably am, man. I probably am. If they got the last name Creel,
she's in the casino industry. She's a bartender.
Tony Creel, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely my cousin. Definitely.
Yeah, she's a bartender.
Yep.
She was a bartender at the boat, and she did a couple bartendings at nightclubs in Gary and stuff like that.
Yep, that's my cousin.
I know. I've been knowing Jeff since he was young, little kid, playing on the porch, the said porch on Hope Street. Okay,
probably at the radio station too, huh?
Exactly. His uncle, man, is my little brother. You all know he's been on here before. Ben Cherry. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's his uncle. Okay. Fantastic individual. Okay. The apple don't fall too far from the tree right there with Jeff. Okay, because Jeff's a fantastic individual as well. Jeff, we're gonna be closing out in a second, man. But again, if you guys, I mean, I wish I could share it, but if you guys, if he doesn't mind, go to his page, look at that. I think it's about 10 minutes long. Okay, but it's funny, but it's effective parenting that he puts out there for everybody. You know, I'm looking like, because I forgot Jeff had a kid, number one, okay. But as I saw that, I'm like, wow, man, and this guy is a baby. He's still a baby to me.
He is. I'm cool with that.
He's young, and the way that he does his child, I was like, man,
he was listening.
Oh my God, he was listening, and it's effective. It works, and I think a lot of people need to hear that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people need to hear, especially coming from, and we always say, you know, we got one section of the pie here on the show, but we need to hear from a younger person how they do, okay, as opposed to what we do. Everything that we say aren't right. Even what he's saying may not work for everyone, all right? But it's working for him. It's working for him.
Yeah. But you know, that goes back to what I said earlier in the show. Once you have that understanding and able to communicate with your child, they're more willing to open up to you about things. You know what I'm saying? When we were growing up, not saying, well, saying it, we were scared of our parents. So we didn't tell our parents. We didn't have that type of relationship with our parents to let them know, oh, yo, we're going through this, we're going through that. We just figured it out on our own. You know what I'm saying? But kids these days are open with their parents and able to hold conversations with their parents. You know what I'm saying?
Be grown folk conversation back then.
Right, exactly. Because you know, we couldn't have those conversations with our parents back then because it was a child and a parent. It was a child and an adult back then.
Or like what you got going on. You don't pay no bills.
Place.
Yeah, you don't pay no bills. What's wrong with you?
Right, and it was their way or the highway growing up. You know what I'm saying?
And sometimes when you raise your kid, there's some things you just don't want your kids to share with you. I remember when my son was a freshman in college, he went to Europe with a couple of friends and came back and wanted to show me videotapes and photos of his adventures. And I'm sitting there watching nude pictures of girls with my son. I'm going, I would have never showed my dad this.
Hell to the no.
And I was like, well, do I say something or just let it ride? And I'm going, well, he feels that comfortable with me. We must have a great relationship.
Because I mean, some of the things it's better to see it that way than see it on somebody's internet somewhere.
Yeah, that's well,
you have to call and ask what's going on.
And you know, with my son, because I used to speak to him a lot and didn't do all the spanking, he came to me with just about everything. And like you said, Kevin, sometimes it's like, I wish you didn't come to me and tell me these things.
But I mean, you know, it's good. No, go ahead, Marcy. I'm sorry.
And a lot of his friends, when they, he would talk freely around some of his friends about things he used to talk to me about. And they were like, your mom knows about that? You told her? And, you know, sometimes there were some doozy conversations, but he would come at me and say, okay, Mom, I need to talk. Don't get mad. He'll be like, don't get mad. But I'm like, come on, let's sit down. Let's talk. And we talk it out. You know, I'm like, well, you know, you were wrong. And before I can even get into that, he would say, I know I was wrong when this happened. and I just want to let you know. And his friends were always shocked because they were like, you told your mom what you did, or you did this or whatever, but we would talk. And then to my knowledge, some of these things didn't happen again because he was convicted, even without talking to me.
That's what, you know, situation.
Felicia says,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was gonna say it's just situations where it can work to your advantage and against your advantage also. Because sometimes you have kids that'll tell you what they're doing because they know they're not gonna get in trouble about it and do it again and continue to do it again. But then you have kids, but then you have children that's raised correctly and they're able to tell you what's going on and they feel guilty about what they did and won't do it again, in case of what Marcy just talked about. It's a lot of different ways of parenting. There's no book on correct parenting. You know what I'm saying? You have to know what's right for your child or your children and apply that. But we basically got away from the whoopings, I can say.
Yeah. I know we got to wrap it up, but I think we should have another show on this because, you know, as you fast forward and kids get older, you know, we get into different types of parenting. For example, I have a couple of friends that they let their children have sex at home, smoke weed at home because they feel like, wait a minute, they
don't
feel
want to
like,
do it out in the street.
right. At least I know they're safe. And so I think we need a part 2 to this.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's interesting. Yeah, we do.
You took it to a whole new level.
Things used that we could talk to her and have no judgment if we did something bad. Go ahead, Chris, real quick. We want
to to that part right there, that'll never happen because you ain't paying nothing in this household.
Yeah, so that's why I say we need a part 2 because
you know
you can't judge parents on the way they raise their kids because there is no right or wrong way, to be honest. That way maybe
having sex at
that,
the crib,
that way may be fine for other parents, you know, and it works better for them because they feel comfortable with their child being safe and not out in the street doing what they're going to do anyway. That's how they look at it. But we'll do this on a part 2.
That's when you beat them, though. Hey, look, we got to get out of here. Jeff, thank you for coming on the show, man. If it was something that you could tell parents, young parents out there, parenting 101 for dummies, okay? Give it to them.
Man, parenting 101 for dummies. So I think there shouldn't be any parenting books. I think it should be all like video blogs because the second you publish the book, it's already outdated.
Yeah,
already outdated. And all you can do, you just got to show up. That's it. You just got to show up. However that means showing up, whether it means going in the corner with them. Hell, my daughter threw a tantrum at school, and I sat down Indian style next to her. That was showing up. For whatever reason, she might have needed me to sit a little bit closer to her. All you got to do is show up. The rest of the stuff, it'll fall in line. That's what I think. Just show up.
Appreciate that. Kevin, go ahead.
I'm going to bounce off of Jeff C. You know, especially for men, be present in your children's life, and if you're a father or mother, don't bring it forward and what was taught to you if you disagreed with it with your child, and you know, don't discipline your kid when you need discipline yourself.
Ooh.
Yes.
That was good.
Yes.
I mean, I agree with both Kevin and Jeff said. Like Jeff said, no book on parenting. You just have to understand and know your kids in the way that you do. Also, you have to really have that communication with your kids, bro. That's a lot of daddies let the girls get by with a lot of stuff, and a lot of mothers let the boys get away with a lot of stuff. That's why it's called daddy girls and mama boys. So things like that, you just have to really talk to your children. You know what I'm saying? Communicate with your children, understand your children, because it helps you and it helps them in life. You know what I'm saying? Situations you go through, you know how to talk it through instead of instantly getting mad and upset because they're not doing what you asked them to do, for one, if you're in management position, or for two, if someone is a higher up, you know how to listen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you need that. And my last and final thing before we pass it to Marcy, man, have you ever got a whooping getting out the tub or got whooped out your sleep?
I have. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
PTSD, Chris. PTSD.
I think I'm the oldest person on this panel. I don't think there's no form of whipping, no form of punishment that I haven't gone through.
Yeah.
Marcy, what's up?
Y'all had me throw it off. Okay.
Throw it off.
Throw it off, not throw it. Throw it off.
Gosh,
Throw
you
it off.
throw it over there. You throw it over there, Marcy. You can touch it.
You need discipline. Somebody go slap her.
No, slap, dang. I thought you were going to say something else. Okay. I'm going to piggyback off the three, Chris, Kevin, and Jeff. Ditto what they said. But parents, know that all kids are different. If you're upset already or you've gotten so upset about what happened, back up before you decide to whoop them if that's your choice of punishment, so that you're not taking your extra anger out on the kids. Get to know your kids. Like I said before, see what the root of the problem is. Why does your kid keep acting out? What's really going on? And be careful when you're talking to your kid and you're trying to chastise your kid and stuff, because there can be not just the physical, like Greg said, the physical whooping, but you have the spiritual, the mental, and the emotional side of that as well. And a lot of times that lasts well past childhood.
Yeah.
And then you wonder when your child is an adult, why they're having so many relational problems. That's it.
Jeff, life coach.
Just want to use a quick biblical principle. It says you can have wisdom, but above all, gain understanding. And I think we can all agree on this panel that one key element to actually raising a child or going through any situation in life is to gain understanding. So even as your child is between the ages of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, understand why they move the way that they move or why they react the way that they react. When kids are too young, a lot of times you can't reason. You just have to watch. You have to watch, you have to listen and pay attention to how your child reacts and responds. And as they get older, continue to teach them right from wrong. Talk to them, know what's going on in their head. Because the worst thing you can do is have little Bobby at the age of 11, 12, 13 be in that room by himself pondering his own thoughts about life. And then something might go down. You know, that's not what you want. So know your children. Talk to your children.
Oh, without a doubt, everything that Jeff said and everything everybody else said, what I like about Jeff is that you do what a lot of black men do, but don't get the credit for. You let them know that, hey, there's a black man in this house. And this is the example of a man that I want my daughter to have. You know what you do with your daughter. Not anything, even, no, nothing less. Don't take nothing less than what my daddy is. And you know, me and my daughter were close like your daughter. Me and my oldest daughter were like that. but again, like I said, it's not, we don't get enough credit for that as black fathers.
Gina.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to touch on the cursing at your children thing, because that was always a pet peeve for me, because the home should be a safe haven for children. They go to school, they get picked on. There's a lot of things they deal with. Stress is very stressful, even elementary school. And so to come home and have peace of mind is what they need, not their parent cursing them out, calling them names, feeling like they just jumped out of the frying pan and into the fire. And so you have to, and that's where the respect comes from. I think someone said it earlier. So just shy away from that. I mean, you control your own tongue, and you should control your tongue with your children.
Absolutely. You know, there's
Hey, G.
Yeah.
Before you say,
how you interrupt, man?
no, I want to wait because I know you're gonna get the last word. I didn't want to get the last word. I wanted you to get the last word. I just wanted to say this too that I didn't say when I was explaining mine. My kids taught me patience.
Oh yeah, they do.
Wow,
it is. Yeah.
That's what my kids taught me patience, because I was Greg will tell you I was a hothead growing up, and I had to. And when I had my first child at 20, I just started easing my way down from being a hothead and started understanding a lot of things, and it's not just with kids; it was with adults also.
Mm-hmm.
But my fault, big brother Almighty Greg, big brother Almighty. My bad.
What I was gonna say before I was so rudely interrupted was that children do not ask to be here. They are a labor of love, all right, and we're supposed to give them that love. Now we go through things in life. We have our problems and issues. And that it is not their fault. I'm guilty. I will be the first one to tell you that I have taken things out on my son that I should not have. Okay? But open communication, being able to, as an adult, say, I'm sorry to that child. That goes a long way. That goes a long way. We do have to have a part 2 on this, okay? Because sometimes with the abuse, it can lead to, as something just happened last week, actually, too. It can lead to the children, as Jeff was saying, having some different thoughts, okay? And it can make them do some different things, including things to themselves, all right? We never want that to happen. We love our children. We want to raise our children in the manner that God wants us to do. And we're supposed to enjoy life. Children are the best part of our lives, okay? And I'm telling you, man, Jeff, I appreciate you, man. I love you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you for having me on.
And I'm so proud of you. And when we have part 2, man, please, please, please come back.
Yes.
And your daughter should be 15 at that time.
Let me make it to 5 first. I don't know if I can make it to 5.
Man. So you gonna lose this hair right there, then this hair gonna go away.
Yeah. Already, this all gone.
That's what I'm saying. Because when they get close to get that 16, man, it just seemed like, oh my God, I don't know what it is.
But that's the show, everybody. We will be back tomorrow with spoken word, one of our favorite days of the week.
All right, y'all.
Spoken word.
Thank you, Jeff.
Peace out.
So we'll see you guys tomorrow. And you know what? I would love to finish this up on Thursday.
Ooh, yeah, definitely.
I would love to finish this up on Thursday, but let's take a moment and do this spoken word tomorrow. And if the spoken word don't work out,
it always works out.
It always do.
Always.
I'm gonna tell these spoken word artists, okay? We're gonna look. I need everybody. Invite some spoken word artists to come on. If they don't come on, it's Dope Living TV Live. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, peace out.